Joel and Andrew, 1000 Foot Krutch here.
Okay.
We're going to tell you a crazy tour story. There's been, 18 plus years for me. There's a lot of stories that compile together into this, mash. But Andrew's going to regale us in one of the more recent, within the past 5 years.
Yeah, it's been 4 years or so.
And it's strong in the story list for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to give you the truncated version. So, we were in Frankfurt, Germany,
Yep.
I believe, coming from Kiev, Ukraine. And we were heading to Dusseldorf to play a festival. And so this crazy snowstorm came through and closed down all the airports in Europe, basically. And the important part to know is that my dad was actually in Dusseldorf waiting on us to get there. And we were in Europe and had no way to contact each other. So we got stuck in Frankfurt, airport closed down, flight got canceled. So we decide, okay, our best option is to trade in our plane tickets and get train tickets. That way we can get there late, but we'll still get there for the show. So we got our train tickets and we went to a subway to take all of our gear to the train station, which was at a different location. And the only thing, we had all of these crazy cases, like tons of cases.
I wish we had a picture, but it's 16 huge cases and then all of our personal effects on top of it. So and there were 5 of us? Or
I think
6 of us?
5 of us.
It's like almost physically impossible
6.
to even travel without some type of a luggage cart or something like that to help.
Yeah. So our tour manager at the time, Josh, shout out to Josh, he found a shopping cart in the subway and he ran up the stairs across to the other platform, grabbed a shopping cart, put it over his head, ran back up the stairs and brought it over to us. So we put 2 of the cases in the shopping cart. That would lighten our load a little bit. So we get on the subway, we get to the train station, and we get onto the train to find out that the only luggage compartment, there's not a luggage car, the only luggage compartment is an overhead space smaller than what you would find in a regional jet, right? Like, there's no way. There's no way.
Backpacks would fit, but not if you have it packed.
Yeah. And bear in mind, we have 16 road cases. So obviously that's not going to work. So we decided, okay, our best case scenario is to go back to the airport and try and get on a flight. Maybe they've...
By this point in time, too, I think, I want to say 3-4 hours of transport.
Oh, yeah.
It's a long time.
This is over the course of an entire day.
Math had happened, when we were trying to figure out the case scenario. Also, beyond that, trying to get on a subway with 6 people in all of those cases without, being separated from each other, or even just making it with everything on in that short amount of subway stop time. He said truncated version. I'm going to make sure I stretch this out a little bit.
So we get in 2 cabs, which was honestly our biggest mistake of the day, was getting in 2 separate cabs. We didn't really have a choice with all of our gear, but so the band gets in 1 cab, and then our tour manager and lighting guy get in a different cab. And our cab drivers decide independently to go 2 completely separate ways. So we go one way, and the crew goes the other way. And we get to the airport and we say, hey man, so is this where all the cabs drop people off? And he's like, yes, they will be dropped off right here. We'll probably beat them because they took the highway. Okay, cool. So we stand there for half hour, give or take, waiting and waiting and waiting. We never see them. So we decide to designate somebody every 10 or so minutes to go inside and make sure they haven't gone somewhere else. 2 hours later.
By the way, we checked into a flight which had happened. They, for some, amazing, miraculous, whatever reason, they were able to find us a flight.
Yes.
So we were booked on this flight. We had checked in all of our bags that we could. Obviously the ones they had with them we couldn't check in. And we're waiting, and we have a finite amount of time, obviously, before we're going to take off and get this crucial flight to Dusseldorf. But we can't find the guys.
Yes.
Andrew.
So we keep going around looking for people. Steve, our drummer, is at the check-in counter making sure that they don't give our seats away or make sure the flight doesn't get canceled, whatever. So eventually, Steve is fed up with waiting on them and decides to scour the airport like we have been doing and see if he can find them. He's like lifting up tiles and the floor, and just, I have no idea where they are. So he finally finds this corner that's tucked away, like you would never notice it unless you were looking for that corner. And he sees our tour manager and our lighting guy taking a nap in the corner. And he's like, "What are you doing? Where have you guys been?" "Oh, we've been here for like 2 hours." Like, where? What? So they decided the best place to be seen was in a dark corner in the airport. So anyways, we finally get all together and we're like, okay, cool, we're gonna make our flight. It's gonna be amazing. I'm trying to get on Wi-Fi because my dad is still in Dusseldorf and has no idea where I'm at. I was supposed to be there like 6 hours ago. And so we get to the priority check-in, we're checking our bags, and he's printing off tickets and whatever. And so I go to pick up the last case of our check bags. I put it on the conveyor belt, and as I'm setting it on the conveyor belt, the ticket agent says, "Flight's canceled." So at that point, I think we all admitted defeat.
It was
We
like
were
8 or 9 o'clock at night at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
We had
it's
started
like-
about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Right?
And
So it was a full day.
we were supposed to play it like, I think we were headlining that night, so we were probably going to play it like 10 or something. So we were already crazy late. And at this point, the point wasn't to make the show, because that just wasn't going to happen. We just needed to get to Dusseldorf so that we could catch our flight to Moscow the next day. That was really the only thing on our plate at that point. And so I could tell my dad, "Hey, I'm alive and stuff. It's great. Everything's fine." So we admitted defeat, and we asked the ticket agent, like, "Hey, is there an airport, or sorry, is there a hotel near the airport?" And he's like, "Actually, that's a hotel right there." We just looked over, and there's this huge doorway where there's a hotel. And we're like, "I don't care how much it costs. We're gonna go get a room at this hotel." So we had to like end up switching our flights and everything, and go to Moscow from Frankfurt instead. And so I finally got Wi-Fi at the hotel, and I text my dad, or I sent my dad a Facebook message or something, and said, "Hey, I'm alive. Our flight got canceled." And he's like, "Okay, cool." We were all really super worried.
And this was at the time, I don't know if it was iPhone 4. No,
Oh,
it would have been
man.
5.
So this would have been what, 2012?
So like I mean, I'm sure I'm speaking to anyone that's an iPhone user. There was a time when you traveled where, for whatever reason, he and I might have the same phone. His would connect to Wi-Fi and mine just wouldn't. You'd like try to get onto the free Wi-Fi and it wouldn't happen. This happened, not often, but often enough. So I got frustrated and I had no way of getting a hold of my wife. So I was like, how expensive can it be? I'm just gonna turn on my phone, call her, 2-3 minutes, tell her I'm okay. Because she at that point probably, was a little bit worried. So I did, and that was a $218 phone call. Hey, tour tip number 6. That's a freebie.
Yeah.
Don't place a call from overseas.
No, get a SIM card.
Get a SIM card.
Get a SIM card. as
Or
soon as
wait
you
for
get it.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Your family members will thank you.
Yes.